नाजरीन, आज हमारे साथ जो गेस्ट स्पीकर्स मौजूद हैं उनका नाम है डेविड अर्ल और पेट्रिशिया अर्ल। और आज जिस टॉपिक के हवाले से वो हमारे साथ डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं उसका ताल्लुक है हमारी नई पीढ़ी, हमारी यंगर जनरेशन और हमारी खवातीन की लीडरशिप स्किल्स के डेवलपमेंट के हवाले से। और आप जानते ही हैं कि हुजूर पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के ज़माने में भी जो खवातीन थी, हज़रत बीबी खदीजा थी, वो एक सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर थी। उनकी लीडरशिप स्किल्स बहुत ही ज़्यादा डेवलप थी। हज़रत बीबी फातिमा ने भी ग़ज़वात के अंदर जो है वो हमारे हुजूर पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की मदद की है। तो ये सब एक मुज़ाहिरा उनकी डेवलप लीडरशिप स्किल्स का ही था, जिनको इस्तेमाल करते हुए अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह उन्होंने जो है वो बेतहाशा एग्जाम्पल सेट किए हैं। तो इसी तरह की लीडरशिप स्किल्स के हवाले से आज हम बात करेंगे। आप खुद बेहतरीन तरीके से समझते हैं कि जो हमारा दीन है इस्लाम, इसकी फाउंडेशन पीस के ऊपर डेवलप की गई है या रखी गई है। तो आज हम डेविड और पेट्रिशिया अर्ल से बात करेंगे, तस्करा करेंगे इसी पीस बिल्डिंग एक्टिविटीज और खवातीन और बच्चों की लीडरशिप स्किल्स डेवलपमेंट के हवाले से। तो लेट्स वेलकम ऑन बोर्ड डेविड एंड पेट्रिशिया अर्ल. Hello, David. Hello, Patricia, and welcome on board once again on our program.
Thank you, Hina. It's lovely to be here with you. Thank you.
It's always our pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have you both on board, especially knowing how passionate you both are in promoting peace building activities under the banner of your respective organizations. It's lovely to see how you guys have been committed for so many years, and everything essentially that you're putting your hands in is just coming through very fantastically. It's amazing. I am really, really impressed the way that you guys have been passionately committed, to follow through each and every initiative that you're pulling through. So, Patricia and David, since most of the work that you both do overlap, so the question essentially is going to be for both of you, and feel free to interchange as and when. Because we're talking about peace building, and that's a very strong message that we like to promote under the banner of our religion as well. Islam means peace, and essentially that's what the initiatives that you are pursuing promote as well. So let's talk about peace building activities. How do you intend to involve our younger generation and women in promoting the peace building activities that you plan to do in 2021?
Okay, let me start then.
Okay, go for it.
Age before beauty, we say.
Yeah.
You know that saying?
Yeah.
I'll preface my remarks by just mentioning, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to share with the viewers. I hope we can give a little bit of inspiration and hope in these times that are difficult for all of us.
Yeah.
I'll preface my remarks by saying then that our two organizations, Universal Peace Federation and the Women's Federation for World Peace, both have consultative status at the United Nations. And that is the result of a lot of the work that we're involved in over many years by many people all around the world in 150 or more countries. So Women's Federation has an office at the UN in Geneva and in the United States, and consultative status category 1. And the Universal Peace Federation also has the highest level of consultative status. It's called general consultative status. And again, it's because of the amount of work in so many countries on all levels of society. So we have that kind of credibility. But the second thing to say is that how shall I say, the framework of how we work is all based on the value of the family. And we accept that there are many different forms of the family in today's world, single parent families and so on, but we do believe that the traditional family has a lot to offer, and so a lot of our education centers on each person developing a parental heart as a young man to become a good father, a good husband, or a young woman to become a good mother, a good wife, because we believe that the ideal is that we relate to each other as family. So our first feeling towards one another is this could be my son, this could be my father, this could be my sister, this could be my brother, that kind of familial feeling and the way that we relate to each other. And secondly, we believe that as we develop, especially young people, develop more of a parental heart, the parental heart wants the best for everybody in the family. If you have 5 children, 5 kids, you can't really be happy as a parent if one of your children is suffering, even if the other 4 are doing well. So we try to implement this idea even into governance, even into politicians and leaders, CEOs of companies and so on, to have this parental heart where everybody, or a teacher in a class, everybody, you want the best for all your students, all your employees, all the people in your nation that you're president of. That kind of ethos is very much a part of our. So having said that, then we believe that the role of women is crucial in this framework of and way of understanding. And historically, politics, power, war, decision making has been rather dominated by men. And now we're in a time when the role of women needs to become complementary, not in the kind of feminist sense, but complementary to men. We believe that the role of women, compassion, forgiveness, understanding, this parental heart needs to complement the role of men more and more in peace building. Also, if we think about the environment, then we'd say Mother Earth, the mother is the womb of life. So women have a role to play in caring for the environment, and bringing what they have to say and what they feel into the bigger picture. Not necessarily to become super leaders, but this heart that women have needs to come into negotiations, into decision making, and so on and so on. So we work at the top end, and I'll pass over to my wife in a second. We work at the top end. We have a First Ladies Association now of current and former First Ladies who have an association globally, who are starting to bring their influence to bear in this kind of environment at the top end. But locally, at the bottom end, we have organizations all over the world where women come together. And if I can just hand over to my wife, then she can talk about the Women's Federation and her work bringing women together locally at the grassroots street level.
That's really beautiful to hear, the ethos and the values and the word parental heart. It just it strikes a chord in my heart immediately the minute I hear this phrase parental heart. And it helps me build a connection with the initiatives that you guys are promoting. So it's beautiful, the ethos, the fact that as a parent we want the same for all the children. In essence, we want success for everybody around us. And these are the values that we need to take forward on a humanity level, if you like. And that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Over to you, Patricia.
Just let me say one more thing, Hina. Then part of our ethos in UPF and the Universal Peace Federation is interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal value. Prosperity means win-win situation. If you're going into a negotiation, can you go into a negotiation where you want both sides to come out with the best for each, and you're thinking not just what can I get from my side, but how can we negotiate in the best interest of both sides in this situation? So mutual prosperity.
Excellent, fantastic.
Just say a few more words. My experience of women coming together is quite empowering, really. As I explained another time before, I think we've been doing that for 27 years, for women to come together across race, culture, faith, nationality, age, social background together, and to put all aside our difference and to share common humanity and heart for peace, and tackling all kinds of topics. But fundamentally, first to build friendship with each other, and to have that heart of compassion. There's so much healing going on when we come together, which is already a very deep peace work, between one another, in ourselves, to overcome our barrier. And there's a lot of things going on when women come together. But saying that, we've been doing a lot of practical things, many projects, over the years, in 27 years. It's just because we felt the fire in our heart, to do something practically when you feel the need, when people share all the you know, the different issues in society, in the world, and we feel the need. And this aspect of action, we've been doing a lot of things practically coming from that peace meeting because of that heart of the mother, that heart to try to show compassion and not only to talk or pray about that, but to do something. So we had a lot of projects like we had a wonderful tapestry for peace, and we still have it, and we meet on a regular basis, which is a wonderful peace activity. Also work with refugees, and also really this aspect of also visiting hospital 2 by 2 and trying to show love and compassion together across religion, and also a project in India which is still ongoing. You know, we have a project in Hyderabad for children who are poor from the Dalit, and try to really work together and make a project and sponsoring children. It's just so empowering, you know, but also to empower young people. Like in that project in India, we've been helping so many children, you know, to come out of their stage, you know, of untouchability, and to feel their dignity, and know they feel really confident, they feel that self-esteem, and they have so much to offer to the world, and they want to help other people. So this is something doing on the level. And also perhaps David, you can explain a bit more about, that's what we wanted to introduce about a youth project, you know,
Right.
for the near future.
But just to fill in the gaps, Patricia mentioned the tapestry project. So women of all faiths got together and they sewed a tapestry. They sewed the place of worship. They made a beautiful tapestry with a mosque and a gurdwara and a synagogue and a church, and then scenes from Birmingham. And then they took about 2 years to make it. And then we put it in the city council house. Now it's in the main hospital in Birmingham, so people could see the work of all women of all faiths on this beautiful tapestry. That encapsulates what I was talking about earlier. It's everybody's.
Wow. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. Sorry, cutting you there. It's just so beautiful to see how people are making use of their skill set to bring different cultures, different faiths together, weave it in, and perhaps that's also a source or a part of their healing process as well. So when we're talking about promoting peace, we're encouraging people from all different, you know, sects of life, different faiths, different culture, different communities to come together and make best use of the skills that God has given them, and then making that a source of of their healing process. So once when they're healed, they will then develop that parental heart, and their vision is going to be clear, and then that way they'll be able to promote global peace. Hopefully I'm in the right direction, David.
Spot on.
Okay, all right, over to you. You were saying something.
And then the other project for chaplaincy, then Patricia invited the first Muslim lady to become a chaplain in the UK, Rahana Sadiq. She came and spoke at the peace meeting with a Christian chaplain. And then as a result of that, several other women got involved to become a Sikh chaplain and from the Buddhist tradition and so on. But then also 2 ladies, they volunteered in pairs. So a Muslim and a Christian lady, or a Jewish and a Hindu lady, they would go into the hospital together, 2 by 2, and work together side by side, visiting patients, representing their different faiths, but doing it together. So again, it was such a lovely example.
It has a double effect.
Beautiful.
Sometimes people overcome barriers between one another, you know, and create more harmony between religion. So it has a double effect, but it's really, really
double dose of dopamine there. Right there. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's fantastic, because you see, it's very important for people to give that understanding of, or a sense of belonging towards each other, you know, by working side by side. It's beautiful because each person is bringing their own values that they inherit from their faiths, from their cultures, and that then helps it develop a sense of integration within the community. So it's very, very empowering. I'm so happy, you know, to hear about these initiatives. So then, Patricia, you were saying something.
Yeah, and also the aspect of take away fear and prejudice, you know, by doing something together. It's
huge.
friendship. It's magic because I think there are a lot of barriers created because of our fear, what we hear from our education, from our background, what we hear from the media. And through friendship, you see through the eyes of your friends. You don't put each other in boxes. You really, and spontaneously, your heart flow, you melt together. And then you don't see even what kind of religion that person belongs, or color of skin, or anything. You feel like one heart, like one family. It's real, that, because it's from the heart, you know. And this is
Marvelous.
healing.
So in
This is
Birmingham, for
healing.
example,
Yeah,
we have
Yeah.
hundreds of Muslim friends, quite
yeah,
close friends,
so many
hundreds of
friends.
Muslim friends. But suppose you don't have a friend who is Muslim. Suppose
Yeah,
you're from a conservative
it's
background or
true.
Christian background or something. You haven't got a friend. If you then
Yeah.
make a friend, so if you come to Patricia's peace meeting and you make a friend who is Muslim, then you start to look at Islam through the eyes of your friend.
Yeah.
So if you see on the
Absolutely.
TV
Then
something about Islam, you
Yeah.
don't just think, oh, all Muslims are like that, but you look
Yeah.
through the eyes of your friend and you say, oh,
And
my
then
friend's
you,
not like that.
and
So
you,
you look through the eyes
and,
of a friend. So even one friend from another faith or another ethnic background is so important. Friendship, the value of friendship.
and you feel really the goodness of somebody else, even somebody who can be better than you know,
Yeah.
and then you become humble and you learn from each other.
Yeah, then we can
And
learn from each other.
this is really, really important.
Yeah.
Before we speak
Yeah.
about
It's huge.
this
Marvelous.
trusting dialogue with each other. It's difficult to express in words. It's something we have to experience in our heart, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just in a nutshell, the way I look at it, it's an opportunity for us to open the eye of our heart, right?
Yeah.
And become intuitive and connect with who we really are. Forget about the
Yeah.
secondary elements of caste and creed and faith and color and whatnot. Just let that, eye of your heart be open and connect with who you are, essentially, your love, your light, your peace, and let the radiance of that, naturally flow out in order to attract the same for yourself. And these are just mere means to bring people together, just so that they can, open that eye of their heart, as you said, the parental heart. So it's really, really beautiful. So now, having spoken about, the different initiatives that have been, in place already, and there will be a few, inshallah, that you'll be holding in the future as well. I'd love for you to talk about them, emphasizing or highlighting how these initiatives will be able to engage our younger generations and women, and how these, by participating in these activities, the leadership skills of our community, specifically the women and the young adults, can be developed. So two-pronged question. Number one, what activities, initiatives are available out there to engage our women and young adults, and how are these activities then going to help them develop their leadership skills?
Where shall I start? Then if we transpose what we've been talking about to young people, then we have a beautiful service project whereby young people from different faiths and religions, from different nationalities, they come together and they do a service project together in a particular local community, representing their faith, their race, their ethnic background, whatever. So they're serving together, but in the process of serving the local community, they become like brothers and sisters in the process. So it's serving the public good, but in the process becoming like brothers and sisters, getting to know each other, making friends with each other, and experiencing one another's humanity. Again, as we say, even beyond our faith, even beyond our race or our ethnicity, becoming like brothers and sisters. And this has a track record going back to 1985, 86, when it began, just with one project in the Philippines. And then since then, we've done about 250 projects all over the world, major projects, particularly in the Indian subcontinent, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, but all over the world. And the reason that has been able to grow is because the young people have such a lovely experience on the project, both in terms of serving, in terms of leadership training, in terms of getting to know each other and making friends, that then they want to take it back to their community. They want to take it back to their country. They want to take it back to their part of the UK or whatever and multiply it. based on that initial experience that they've had together. So that's, again, the similar kind of idea of both service, leadership training, and education, service and education both. So it's a lovely model, and we want to then, we're trying to develop that in the UK right now, to restart it. It was called Religious Youth Service, but now we just want it to be Youth for Peace and Development. So the religious element will still be there, but it will be much more upgraded for the current society. For many young people don't profess to any particular faith tradition, but many of them are not at all. Many, they would say they have a spirituality, but they don't necessarily want it to be institutionalized. So we wouldn't emphasize the institutional element, but it'll still be there, but it'll be much broader and much more inclusive, I would say. So we want to pilot that project again probably in Birmingham and in London, have young people come together from all over the country, from Scotland, Wales, Manchester, different cities, experience this on the project, and then take it back out into the country to where they've come from, to their community. We're planning to do that shortly,
And
so how long is this training or the program going to last, David? And ideally, when are you looking to start?
Well, obviously, because of the coronavirus situation, we can't start right away, but we have a launch meeting on February the 4th, nationally as part of Interfaith, what's called Interfaith Harmony Week. So we'll be launching that with a Zoom meeting, webinar, and then we'll be looking to start the project when it's safe in terms of the coronavirus, ideally towards the end of this year, worst case, the beginning of next year. And we're putting all the different ingredients into place, the participants, the funding. We have quite good patrons from the British government, and religious leaders and different organizations. All the pieces are starting to take shape, but we'll launch it on February the 4th as part of Interfaith Harmony Week, and then we'll hope to actually hold these practical service projects towards the end of the year.
Right,
and then it will develop by the young people taking part, going back to their community and being mentored by an older person, perhaps a religious leader or somebody appropriate, could be male or female. They'll be mentored to do a project in there and guided, and their training will continue back in their community. And hopefully that will lead to an actual youth award in Parliament. We have a foundation in the UK Parliament where we can bring young people to receive an award. They can talk about their work, it can go on their CV, and so the training will continue, because obviously just in 1 week together or 2 weeks together, you can learn a lot, but it needs to continue. So we have a program to how we'll develop that.
That's beautiful. I mean, it's the case of bringing them together and making them go through a robust training whereby you're developing sound, solid foundations for them, so that, and also giving them a blueprint of what they've learned together of the project and the skills that they've developed together over those 2 weeks. So when they disperse, they go back to where they come from, they can use the same blueprint of that project and start implementing it in their own communities after being paired with specific mentors, right? And then in the end, based on how beautifully they worked around their project, they could potentially be awarded in the Parliament as well for their, hard work and their efforts. That's a great opportunity. That's a very, very fantastic opportunity, I'd say, because on the 25th of this month, I have already announced, I was thinking that, we need more and more women to come on board, again, with, their parental heart, to come and represent me, Muslim women in the media, come and represent Muslim women in the Parliament as well. And for that, I will be, having this. It's not a contest, it's an opportunity for young adults to come on board and speak about any social change, any challenge that they're facing currently within the society. And if given a chance, they had to become, a senior leader, how will they be able to bring about that change to combat the challenge that they're facing right now? So that then opens up a window of, you know, them coming on board, getting the feel of what it feels like to be speaking on a national TV channel. What would media feel like? Develop a bit of a confidence, their public speaking skills, so that when they're left at the end, they can, you know, at least take back some level of confidence and a food for thought whether media, a career in media could be something for them. So it's the same, you know, with your kind of a model as well, that they come, they get engaged, they integrate with each other, they, you know, pursue and invest their skill sets, they learn more skills, develop more skills from each other, and then they take that accomplishment in the form of project back home where they come from, wherever, whichever city, and they try to implement it and pilot run it independently whilst being paired with a mentor and see how it goes. Perhaps they're going to be, you know, more potential for developing it even further, which again is beautiful because whatever is coming out essentially is going back into the community. So it's like a cycle, you know. And as you were mentioning it very rightly earlier on, David, it could possibly be intergenerational. You know, people can carry it over or carry it forward as their legacy.
Yeah, perhaps I can add something on it, Hina.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like,
Go on.
we had 2 of this project in Birmingham. It was an amazing experience because all of our women were part of it, and some of their children, the young people, they joined the project. The women were a bit like mentors. They took part. They were there observing, you know, and helping, also cooking, you know, all kinds of. You can feel these 2 generations. But then the young people had their own program, you know. But still, there was this surrounding of love and support. It was really, really an amazing experience. Never forgot that. But I would really invite everybody to come to that launch on the 4th of February and to listen to the testimony of some of the people who took part this project, you know, from Birmingham, some of the people, because that's the best way. You listen to their own experience and believe it, because that's one thing to talk about, but the other thing to, you know, pull your sleeve up and try to really work hard. It's very hard work. This service project is hard work. Like for 2 weeks, they work so hard, but they're so happy to see the fruit of their hard work. You know, that's one thing. And they sweat a lot, you know. But this action is so good for young people. They need that physically for their mental health, for their well-being, and also to just feel like this unity with each other. It's unbelievable. And sometimes also there's also another aspect, they go to a different place of worship, you know, like an interfaith pilgrimage, because some of the young people come from Eastern Europe. They never met a Sikh or Hindu person. It's very, very educational.
As say, as a young Muslim, they're so proud to take all the young people to their mosque, or bring everybody to their church, or bring everybody to their gurdwara, and they get the language. It's so lovely.
Wonderful, the togetherness, you know, because often there's a lot of service projects, but in our bubble, you know, in our own faith community, but it's not so common to have people from different faiths or no faiths to come together to do a service project. So I think it's a really very
and then just one other point here is we did the first project in Birmingham in 1996, and the city council was so inspired. They said, you've got to do another project in 1997. They gave us some money to do another project. But in the second project, we learned a lot in the first project. It was quite a steep learning curve. But in the second project in 1997, we engaged with 3 schools. So school children aged, you know, from 11 to 17, then they saw these young people, like their older brothers and sisters, doing this project. And they came and we went into their school and spoke to them. So it multiplied down to teenagers, and they caught the vision and they saw what's possible from these older young people working together. That was also very inspiring.
Very nice. And then in the end, we had a huge cultural program with hundreds of people. The parents came, the community, and it really created community cohesion, you know, and listening to the testimony of these young people, it was absolutely amazing. We never forget that. So we want to recreate that. And we are quite motivated for that. And everybody is welcome from different faith community, different organization. And it's something that is really inspiration for us. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm definitely going to share the details of the event, at the end of the program for our viewers, making sure that they tune in, they join in, and become a part of the community, become a part of you all, and together we thrive. Essentially, that's what it is. That's the key message here. Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, just as you guys are, obviously you've been a part of it, and I haven't been a part of everything that has been going around. But the experience that I have had, the first time I came, I was invited over to yours for that, evening with all the ladies coming together, this meeting that we had there. It was just so beautiful because I'm thinking maybe there were, women from maybe 60, 70, or different, countries or cities, if you like, would come together, and they're sharing the same platform, they're sharing the same vision, they're sharing the same pains, they're sharing the same issues, they're sharing the same kind of or they're seeking the same kind of a growth and clarity. So essentially, our pains have become our gains when we come together, and we're sharing that for the greater good. And we've made so many friendships. When we split, we exchanged our contact details with each other. We're still networking, we're still in contact with each other, because you see, each one of us is created with our own kind of unique skill sets. So when we're working on projects, we're leveraging by collaborating with each other and making the most of each person's unique skill sets and their experiential knowledge as well. So that then, brings the flavor. People coming together, having friendships, coming together, collaborating to work on different community development projects, each person bringing in their own experience, sort of bringing in their own flavors and the aromas. And the end product that is beautiful is something to feel proud of, definitely. So, because I can relate with that one meeting, I can't imagine that what would be the end result like? What would it feel like with so much empowerment work going on that you guys are passionately involved in? Yes, David, you were saying something.
Yeah, I just felt, to share one experience with the viewers. My first experience on this youth project was in early 1995, and I found myself flying to Kerala. If you know Kerala, at the bottom of India, and
India,
the project right out in the coconut plantations in the middle of nowhere in India. But there were 200 young people from Mahatma Gandhi University and from all over the world. But this older couple, who are like the parents, they came from Dhaka University, a Muslim couple, and it was Ramadan at that time. So they were fasting for Ramadan.
Yeah.
The husband's name was Dr. Kazi Nurul Islam, and his wife Aziza. But they were there every day, even if it was Ramadan. It was quite hot, but they were there every day on the project with the young people, even though they were fasting. And the young people had such a admiration, for this couple who were there supporting them all the time. And at the end of Ramadan, they didn't fly back to Dakar. They had a big celebration with all the young people, at the end of Ramadan. And just that couple brought such a beautiful witness, for want of a better word, for Islam, during Ramadan, for all the young people who were there. I can't forget how we celebrated Ramadan there. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
also,
Very peaceful, very blissful. Yeah. Yes, Patricia.
another thing really important is that there are some condition in the beginning. When the young people come together, you have to follow some
Ground rules.
control, especially it's really pure relationship between brother and sister. It's not dating or anything. People come with the desire to help. And that really creates a lot of good feeling and freedom and more pure feeling. It's really, really, it works. It's very interesting.
Definitely, because it's all about, leadership development, and these are the skills that we do require, in the 21st century. And even, in amongst our faith, as I mentioned in the opening of the program, that the first wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she was a very successful entrepreneur, and it requires high level of leadership skills to become, that successful. So it's absolutely key, extremely critical for, women to develop their leadership skills, for younger generations to come together from the, with the intention to learn and grow and thrive as communities together. That's very, very important, extremely important. Yeah. Yeah. So, David and Patricia, tell me more about your Rally of Hope.
Well, we've had 3 rallies of hope already last year, and we're going to have another one on February the 14th. And the purpose is to bring together, in UPF we have different associations. So there's an association for parliamentarians, there's an association for current and former heads of state, there's an association for first ladies, and an association for religious leaders. So we try to bring some of these VIPs, dignitaries, to give them a platform to speak together on this rally of hope, where they can hopefully give hope and encouragement to people in these difficult times from their particular perspective, from a political perspective or a religious perspective. And but the point is, they're doing it together. They come from perhaps different persuasions or different faith backgrounds, but speaking together, hope globally. And I think the second and third rallies of hope reached maybe more than 200 million people. So it's a big thing. And the technology had to be developed to allow it to happen. But it's a wonderful experience. And then our founder, co-founder, who is a woman, Mother Moon, she speaks and she tries to give a message, particularly that we're not really able to solve. She speaks to the politicians and the religious leaders that ideally any solution should really involve the divine. By ourselves, we can try to bring solutions, but actually we need to work together, and we need to involve inspiration from above in order to really, even political leaders need that inspiration. So it's very nice to see, if I give one example, a former Prime Minister of Canada, Stephen Harper, and he's not overtly religious, but you can feel his heart, this spirituality coming through his more political message. It's very nice. And we've had, I think, who have we had before? We've had former Prime Minister Gilani speak, and I think Faisal Kundi has spoken, Deputy Speaker of Pakistan. So these kind of people, they have an impact, but they're speaking hope for the future, especially our young people. All of us need hope, but our young people in particular need to feel hopeful about the future. Young people are struggling with their education or employment opportunities, mental health issues, these things. So this is a platform for leadership, political, religious leadership, to really share this feeling of hope and for the future for all of us.
Yeah, and the coming rally on the 14th of February, it will be especially for young people. They are really aiming to bring a lot of young people together and to hear the voice of our young people across race, culture, faith, for peace. Yeah, so it's very empowering.
Excellent. Excellent. And I'm so glad that everything is, happening or starting from the beginning of the year. So it's not going to be very long until we're actually able to experience what it feels like to be a part of a huge community. So thank you so much, David and Patricia, for joining me, yet another time on my program. And it's always a pleasure, having you both on board and talking about these peace building activities and promoting peace, globally within our communities. Thank you once again. नाजरीन, जैसा आप जानते हैं कि आज हमने डेविड और पेट्रिशिया अर्ल के साथ पीस बिल्डिंग एक्टिविटीज के हवाले से बात की है, और पीस को बीच में एज अ क्रक्स रखते हुए हमने ये तस्करा किया कि किस तरह से हम अपनी स्किल सेट्स को इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं। डिफरेंट कल्चर से हमारा ताल्लुक है, डिफरेंट एथनिसिटीज से हमारा ताल्लुक है, मुख्तलिफ फेथ से हमारा ताल्लुक है, मगर जब हम सारे मिलकर एक अम्ब्रेला, एक छत के नीचे इकट्ठे होते हैं तो हम एक दूसरे से सीखते हैं और अपनी स्किल्स का इस्तेमाल करते हैं, जो कि अल्लाह सुब्हान ताला ने हमें यूनिकली हर बंदे को एक मुख्तलिफ स्किल सेट के साथ पैदा किया है। उनको इस्तेमाल करते हुए जब हम इकट्ठे होते हैं, एक दूसरे के साथ सीखते हैं, तो हम پیس ایکٹیویٹیز کو پروموٹ کرتے ہیں. تو بہت ضروری ہے کہ ہماری ینگر جنریشن جو ہے وہ اس طرح کی ایکٹیویٹیز میں خود کو انوالو کریں, بجائے اس کے کہ وہ گھر پہ بیٹھیں. آج کل تو وائرس کی وجہ سے ویسے ہی آپ کو پتہ ہے کہ اپرچونیٹیز بہت محدود ہوئی ہوئی ہیں, لمیٹڈ ہوئی ہوئی ہیں. تو اگر ہمیں گھر بیٹھے ہمارے اپنے کمفرٹ زون سے اس طرح کی اپرچونیٹیز مل جائیں کہ ہم گلوبلی اپنے گھروں کے کمفرٹ میں بیٹھ کر کمیونٹیز کے ساتھ, ینگ ایڈلٹس کے ساتھ زوم پہ, ڈفرنٹ پلیٹ فارمز پہ اکٹھے ہو سکیں, تو آئی تھنک اٹس گونا بی اے گریٹ اپرچونیٹی. ہمیں بہت کچھ سیکھنے کو ملتا ہے ان ننے منے بچوں سے جو کہ اپنی زندگی کا 17, 18, 19, 20 سال کے ہوتے ہیں, اور اپنی زندگی کا خمیازہ, اپنی زندگی کا تجربہ, اپنی زندگی کا جو نالج ہے وہ لے کر آتے ہیں تاکہ پوری دنیا میں ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ وہ اس کو شیئر کر سکیں. اور اس کا مین مقصد یہی ہے کہ ہم ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ سیکھیں, ایک دوسرے سے سیکھیں اور اپنی لیڈرشپ سکلز کو ڈیولپ کریں, اپنی کرٹیکل تھنکنگ کو ڈیولپ کریں, تاکہ ہم ایک پروگریسو امہ بن کر آگے چل سکیں اور ٹورچ بیئرز بن سکیں کمیونٹی میں ڈیولپمنٹ کے. تو میں آپ کو انکریج کروں گی ہائیلی کہ آپ جائیے www.thelegacyoflove.org/exhibition/. یہاں پہ آپ کو تمام تر معلومات مل جائیں گی ڈیوڈ اور پیٹریشیا کی ایکٹیویٹیز کے حوالے سے. آپ جا کے دیکھیے, جو بھی ایونٹ آپ کو انٹرسٹنگ لگے اس میں جا کے آپ اپنے آپ کو انرول کریں, اور یہ میرا دعویٰ ہے کہ آپ ریگریٹ نہیں کریں گے. تو خواتین, آپ کے لیے بھی یہ میسج ہے, اور ہماری ینگر جنریشن کی آج کی جو آپ مائیں ہیں, آپ اپنی بچیوں کو, آپ اپنے بیٹوں کو انکریج کریں, ان کے ساتھ مل کر ان پروجیکٹس میں آپ انوالو ہوں, تاکہ ہمارے بچوں کو ایک سینس آف کمیونٹی, ایک سینس آف بلونگنگ کا احساس ہو. اور یہی ایک احساس ہے جس کی کمی ہے آج کل ہمارے معاشرے کے اندر, خواہ ہم کسی بھی بیک گراؤنڈ, کسی بھی کلچر, کسی بھی فیتھ سے تعلق رکھتے ہوں. مین یہی ایک گیپ ہے, یہی ایک کمپلین, یہی ایک چیلنج ہے ہمارے ینگر جنریشن کی کہ ایک سینس آف بلونگنگ وہاں پر موجود نہیں ہے. ہم اپنے اپنے رولز میں ایز پیرنٹس اتنے زیادہ مصروف ہیں کہ ہمیں یہ چیز دکھتی نہیں کہ بچوں کو صرف ایک ماں کی ضرورت ہے, بچوں کو صرف ایک باپ کی ضرورت ہے. تو اگر ہمیں اپنے رولز اچھی طرح سے نبھانے تو بہت ضروری ہے کہ ہم اپنی لیڈرشپ سکلز کو ڈیولپ کریں, اپنی بچیوں کو پروموٹ کریں, اپنے بچوں کو آگے ڈیولپ کرنے کے لیے بھیجیں, پروموٹ کریں, تاکہ وہ ایک اچھے پیرنٹ بننے کا ثبوت دے سکیں, اچھے کمیونٹی ممبرز بننے کا ثبوت دے سکیں. تو میں, اگر آپ کو یہ انفارمیشن مجھ سے ڈائریکٹلی چاہیے تو آپ میرے فیس بک پہ جا کے میرے نام سے مجھے ڈھونڈ سکتے ہیں, اور میں یہ ساری انفارمیشن آپ سے وہاں پر بھی شیئر کر سکتی ہوں. جانے سے پہلے دوبارہ سے ان کی ویب سائٹ آپ کے ساتھ لنک شیئر کرتی ہوں, www.thelegacyoflove.org/exhibition/. تو جتنے بھی ان کے ایونٹس ہوتے ہیں یہیں پہ ایڈورٹائز ہوتے ہیں, وہاں جا کے یو کین پک اینڈ چوز whichever one that you feel is most close to your heart. Please, I'm encouraging you highly to go and participate and develop the leadership skills that you require in order to combat living in the 21st century. Until next week, ijazat chahti hu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
یا رسول اللہ سلام علیکہ یا حبیب